Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Can I please ask for any declarations of interest in relation to any item on the agenda? Okay, thank you. Agenda item 3 is the appointment of Chair of the Authority. May I please ask for a nomination along with a seconded nomination for Chair of the Authority?
Councillor Leslie Barham.
Seconded. Okay, thank you. Agreed then.
Agreed. Well, thank you, colleagues. Hang on. It's official now. Thank you, colleagues. Much appreciated, and opportunity for another year on this authority. We'll come to the welcome to members a little further on, but I would like to nominate for the appointment of Vice Chair. This is item 4, and that would be, I would propose Councillor Roberts and Councillor Grace. Seconder? Thank you very much. The other nominations, is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you. So then we have item 5, pages 5 to 12, minutes of the previous meetings. They're offered for correction, alterations. If there's none, there's no alterations to that. Will that be agreed, colleagues? Agreed. Thank you. So next we'll come to the item 6, which is on pages 13 to 16, which is the membership of the authority. Now what I'm going to do is, the report is there. Rhea, our solicitor, may have some comments to make, but I thought that the first thing we do is let everyone introduce themselves. So I'll start off. I'm Les Byram. I'm a Sefton councillor and just elected chair again. We could go round.
Councillor Jan Grace, just elected vice chair, a councillor in Sefton. Thank you.
Councillor Kieran Murphy, Bromford Ward, Wirral.
Councillor Matthew Kent, St Helens.
Councillor Tony Murphy, Rockferry Ward, Wirral.
Councillor Jerry Williams, Upton Ward, Wirral.
Councillor Amy Wright, Shevington Ward in Knowsley.
Councillor Dave Hanratty, Councillor for the Waterfront North in Liverpool.
Councillor Heather Westad, I represent Brownlow Hill Ward in Liverpool. Thanks.
Councillor Chris Page from Sefton.
Councillor Lynn O'Keefe for the Stockbridge Ward in Knowsley.
Councillor Andrew Makinson, Liverpool. Councillor Sam Gorst, Garston Ward, Liverpool.
Councillor Lynn Thompson, Ainsdale Ward.
I'm Councillor James Roberts, Smithdown Ward in Liverpool. I'm one of the vice chairs.
Councillor Ian Lewis, Wallasey in Wirral.
Councillor Lena McCormick, Norris Green Ward in Liverpool.
I think there were some apologies, and we'll let those introduce themselves in due course. Have you anything to draw attention to in this report, Leah?
No, the membership report details, obviously, yourselves who've been appointed this year with a change of 7 from last year.
There will be some induction. There's a plan for an induction day and familiarisation for any of the members who've been on the authority who want to come and familiarise themselves. We try and do it at our fantastic Training and Development Academy, Long Lane Entry. A date's been suggested. Remains to be seen who can come. There's no point doing it for just one person, but you know we'll get that sorted, and we'll ensure that all new members get a proper induction opportunity.
If the new members are able to just stay behind at the end of today's committee, I will discuss possible dates with them as well.
So then the next item is item 8, pages 29 to 34.
Sorry, Chair, can I just, for our records, just note that those recommendations from the previous report?
Agreed. So actually it's 7, structure of the authority, pages 17 to 28. Structure of the authority is published. It's exactly the same as last year. Just for noting, really, for reporting. Yeah.
Members who have read the report will note that the proposal for the structure of the authority this year does remain, as the chair's just said, as the structure from the previous year in terms of our committees. The report does go on to detail the political proportionality breakdown for each party. However, since publishing, I, as the monitoring officer, have been presented with confirmation that a new political group had been formed on the authority, Progressive Alliance. So this has slightly changed the political proportionality, which I can take you to paragraph 15 of the report, would now reflect the Labour Party with 11 members, Progressive Alliance Party 4, Reform UK 2 and Conservative Party 1. The political proportionality in its percentage has therefore been changed to reflect that the Progressive Alliance Party has 22.22% on the authority and has become the main opposition party. I can also confirm I have received confirmation of the opposition spokesperson for this year, who is Councillor Lynn Thompson. May also be worth noting the same report details about lead members, which we reintroduced last year on several different areas within the organisation, namely operational response, preparedness, prevention, protection and people, with a proposal for nominations, which I have now received for this year to be approved and to continue and to help play an integral role in the development towards our next CRMP and people plan. Happy to take any questions.
Councillor Hanratty.
Thanks, Chair. Could we just confirm who the Progressive Alliance are, which parties? Sorry, within the structure or the legislation, would they have to form a group, officially form a group?
Yeah. So it has been an amalgamation of the Liberal Democrats, the Green Party, the Your Party, Liverpool, the three parties, and yes, under the legislation, they have provided me with the correct paperwork to formally create a political group on the authority, which has been named the Progressive Alliance.
Maybe we'll see more of this. Okay. Any other questions on this item of the authority? If not, we will obviously that's to be agreed. Is that agreed? Okay. So the next item is 8, pages 29 to 34. Meeting dates 26-27. This is as published. And just to remind that dates do change. Please put the dates in your diary. You can go onto the Merseyside Fire website, and there is a calendar section and there is a electronic. So you can, if you use an electronic diary, you can drop the dates down. It will populate into your diary. But please bear in mind that dates change. From officers, are there anything to add to that?
No,
Meeting dates?
we are discussing with the Chair of Audit changing the provisional date published from the 25th of June to the 30th of June, which at the moment deems agreeable, but we will pick this up outside the meeting.
Okay. So item 8, meeting date, is that agreed? Thank you very much. Number 9, scheme of members' allowances is published.
The scheme of allowances is contained within Appendix A, page 39 of the report. Obviously sets out for the year what the allowance payments would be for all members, including those with a special responsibility allowance.
Okay, so this is just following the normal formula that we've adopted since the year's austerity. We had 11 years of freeze, and then we came out of that, as with the other authorities within Merseyside. Are there any queries or questions relating to item 9 on the agenda? Otherwise, can that be agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much. So next, 10, is the Merseyside Fire and Rescue Authority Constitution 2627. This is on pages 47 to 258. So that's the bulk of this agenda, but you have to put it on, you know.
There's no major, there's no major reports to update members on. Any typographical errors have been addressed, and just for the clarification, this is not a change to the group of the member development group. It's just to emphasise it's a working group, as it always has been, but other than that, there are no particular changes to bring to members' attention.
Okay, so on item 10, are there any queries or questions from members? Can item 10 be agreed? Thank you. So 11, usual thing, question on the discharge of functions. A list has been provided and circulated.
I have it, which I can confirm now for you, Chair. Dealing with questions on discharge of functions for Liverpool is Councillor James Roberts, Knowsley, Councillor Lynn O'Keefe, St Helens, Councillor Matt Kent, Sefton, Councillor Les Byron, and Wirral, Councillor Tony Murphy.
This is just against the contingency that somebody on an authority wants to ask a question relating to the functions of the fire authority. It is very, very rare, if at all. And of course, if anybody is asked a question, officers here will assist in putting together what, you know, factual detail that's required. Can 11 be agreed? Agreed. Thank you. 12, appointment of members on the outside bodies.
Thank you, Chair. The report details, it's just not playing with me today.
No, it's not.
The report details the outside bodies in which members are to be appointed. Local Government Association is a long-standing appointment, and previously in 2021, members had agreed that would continue unless determined otherwise, and that is in order to take advantage of the early discount payments that would need to sign up to prior to the AGM. So if members were not to agree that, it would be for the following year. The other bodies are the North West Local Authorities Employers Organisation, the North West Fire and Rescue Advisory Forum, Association of Metropolitan Fire and Rescue Authorities. Contained within the report are those members who were appointed from last year, and it's asked for confirmation for this year who those members will be and whether they would be the same as relevant. The difference for this year is in terms of the growth platform, and that is because that has moved from a appointment of a member to that particular outside body, and that is instead undertaken by officers, and which has been area managers for prevention and protection. Therefore, it's asked for members to approve the format change to be delegated to the Chief Fire Officer to determine membership of that group and the appropriate officers to appoint thereof. Happy to take any questions.
So I'll move those names and also the delegation to the local platform arrangements. Some of those meetings, metropolitan authorities, these are defunct. They don't really meet that often. But just in case something should happen, and this might be the year when some sort of debate might take place amongst the metropolitan authorities and so forth. Councillor Hanratty.
Thanks, Chair. I was going to raise something similar, actually, because obviously we know that these haven't met for a number of years now, but it is important that these networks continue to sort of survive and we use it in good practice and share ideas and policy issues and things like that. So could we try and reach out to like the Northwest other fire and rescue services and even AMFRA, because obviously many years ago AMFRA was a very, very strong voice for the major core cities across the country, and I think now more than ever you need to have that collaboration with the other Met authorities going forward. So even having those discussions with them about what's going on within the government and the change in legislation, the standards boards of the Fire Chiefs Council and things that's going on internally within the Fire and Rescue Service. I think together as major cities, I think it'd be good to reach out to them to see if we can get together to talk about good practice and ideas about going forward in the future and what their challenges are as well as what the challenges are here on Merseyside.
I think our focus on lobbying, for the changes which are presumed to come with local government reorganisation and devolution, we can use these mechanisms. They have changed a lot. For instance, Manchester have a different settlement and don't really come to the North West group functionally. But yes, we will use whatever machinery we can to lobby for the best case we can do. Okay. So any questions on those? To outside bodies? Can that be agreed? 13, much the same actually. Approved conferences and outside meetings.
Yeah, but again, this is a standard item just to ensure that any attendance at outside conferences and meetings, you're there to represent the authority and the business of the authority, and that can be determined by the chair in consultation with myself as deemed appropriate.
So there is a budget for members' training. There's a budget for conferences. Obviously, it's not a bottomless figure, but if any member has a thought about training that they'd like to avail themselves of, I mean, you're very welcome, you know, to try and do the best we can to improve knowledge and to assist, you know, the main function, which is supporting our fantastic firefighters and staff. So 13, can that be agreed? Next, again, much the same. Meeting with national politicians at party conferences. We haven't had to do this for a long time, but it is seen to be a reserved function that if it were necessary, and again, this might be the year or next year might be the year, that we need to do some central lobbying. I don't think there's much else to add to that, is there?
No, the report states everything really, just to identify, obviously, in terms of the position of the permission to attend such a meeting is bespoke to being there for the authority and forwarding the authority business, and any fees or expenses claimed thereof could only relate to the authority, not your own party or any other council business.
Correct. Okay, so is that agreed? Thank you. So 15 is members' allowance payments for 25-26. So this is a backwards-looking report, looking at the statutory advert that we will put website and in the paper or publications, whatever, as to how much was spent in the last year. Anything to add to that?
No, just to make members aware that this allowance payment covers 2 financial years, which is why you might see different names on it. It's fact-based, obviously, what's been paid. I will be bringing back, still throughout this year, the end of the current municipal year, just to bring us back in line in the future, to be bringing it, rather than financial years, in scheme municipal years.
That'll help. Are there any questions on that? Is that agreed? Thank you. The page, 16, pages 275 to 82, Annual Scrutiny Review 25-26.
This report is to update with members with work that was undertaken by the Scrutiny Committee in the last municipal year, 25-26. Paragraph 6 details the meetings that were held and the scrutiny topics that were scrutinised by the members. In terms of Pathway to Net Zero, Area Manager Dave Watson, who we've got in the room today, presented an update on the authority's progress on its Pathway to Net Zero in regards to our fleet. There's been a lot of work ongoing in terms this aspect environmentally, and it remains ongoing in regards to our movement of electric and hybrid vehicles. Members had commended their approach not to compromise on response times and waiting for the correct infrastructure to be in place as we progress further forward. Members also were updated on the annual health, safety and welfare report 24-25. This report looks back from the previous year, and it details a lot of the statistics in terms of our road traffic collisions, welfare, injuries on duty, and it's a lot of information for members to scrutinise. It's particularly praised by members that the welfare provisions by the authority in place to support staff were exceptional, and they were reassured by the scrutiny of the health and safety report that goes on each year, and in particular the culture that we set in terms of our near-miss reporting. An enforcement and prosecution update was also provided following our HMI. Now, just to bear in mind, our HMI report is not our most recent one, it was the one prior to that, and the learnings that we wanted to take from protection, and it was detailed to members the progress we had made up until our most recent report. You can see that the particular focus on enforcement and prosecution had been undertaken in terms of staff's education and confidence in us moving forward. Culture Action Plan was also scrutinised, with the Director of People and Organisational Development being able to inform members on the plan, focusing on values, culture and misconduct, and it was developed in response to the 35 HMI recommendations produced, 20 of which applied directly to the Fire and Rescue Services. Members commended the report was excellent, noted the importance of middle management and acknowledged the positive work undertaken with trade unions. Our last item that was scrutinised by members in the year was the Response Key Performance Indicators, and the Group Manager of Response delivered a presentation detailing the service's performance against that KPI relating to our response times. So it covered call handling, alert to mobile and first attendance of an appliance at all life risk incidents. Neil Mooney, the Group Manager, was praised for his very comprehensive report, and members expressed how impressed and reassured they were in regards to the constant review of our performance to ensure that ultimately we deliver the best service we can to our community. In terms of moving forward, thinking about this municipal year, the members of the Scrutiny Committee will be invited to a scrutiny workshop in which the next Scrutiny Forward work plan will be devised. It is recommended as part of this report to move one item that was not discussed on the previous Scrutiny Forward work plan, and that was the management of contaminants. One of the reasons why we proposed to bring this forward to the next Scrutiny Forward work plan is we knew that there was going to be an inspection by the HSE not long after the last Scrutiny Committee from the last municipal year. Therefore, we felt it would be more prudent to be able to include that inspection and any feedback thereof to members, and therefore that's why it's proposed to bring it back this year. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. I mean, the Scrutiny Committee is separate to the leadership of the authority. They have their own work programme. They can decide what they want. Sometimes from the policy or community safety, issues are referred, and I think contamination, as contaminated equipment and kit was one of those things that was referred for a little bit more work, a little bit more detailed looking into by the Scrutiny Committee. Are there any questions about this annual report? Councillor Hanratty?
Thanks, Chair. First of all, can I obviously put my thanks and appreciation to officers and who presented the report and gave us the information. I think it's important that the Scrutiny Committee can sort of look into, have a deep dive of certain issues, and the presentations that was given to members of the committee was excellent. It gave us to have an open debate about exactly what's going on within our service, and to look at other options available to us to improve the service that we offer, not only to our staff but also to the general public. There was two issues I think that mainly that I've picked up on throughout the year, and one of them was the sort of health and well-being of our firefighters, and with the figures that we received, and we've noticed that there's a large increase in firefighters who reach a certain age, because as we know now, firefighters have to work until the age of 60, and once they get to, you know, past 55, there's certain conditions that they'll have because of within 30 years or whatever as a career as a firefighter. I can never say this word, the medical condition, multiple sclerosis, skeletal, yeah. There's an increase in that condition. I'm not going to say it again. But I think it needs to be addressed. I think it needs to have more examination, not just in Merseyside, but I think a conversation throughout the whole of the country. Because if we find that we have firefighters who can't physically undertake their role as a firefighter due to the age and the medical conditions, then I think it's something that the government needs to investigate and scrutinise further. I think it's beyond us to sort of take on this role, whether we refer it to the LGA. But I think, you know, there needs to be a wider discussion on older firefighters having the ability and the fitness levels to do the job, and whether they need to, if there's an easy process of whether they can retire on medical grounds or whether it's restrictive because of the retirement age. So I think a debate needs to be had. And I think the sooner we can raise this on a national level, the better. Because otherwise, I wouldn't like to see a firefighter who's struggling to respond to an incident and he physically can't. You can imagine the pressure that puts on any individuals. And I think we have an obligation to make sure that we protect our firefighters to the best we possibly can. I think with raising this issue, I think it's a discussion for, you know, others to have, but I think it's something that we need to put forward. And the other issue is on the lithium batteries and the increase in fires associated with lithium batteries. And we had the electrical safety campaign, and one of the questions I asked whether we would formally support that campaign, because that's a group of people from right across the country who have set themselves up as a campaign group to change the legislation, get the government to change the legislation. And I know about 2 years ago they had a fringe meeting at the Labour Party conference, which I sat in, and I had a great discussion with some of the people who were involved with that, some medical people and some scientists, and, you know, people from all aspects of life. And they've sort of looked into the detail of the impact on lithium batteries and the fires, and the impact that has on our firefighters. And I think, again, we should be pushing that and promoting that and doing all we possibly can to make sure that we advocate for the government to change the legislation, not only to protect our residents in the event of one of these fires happening, but also to protect the general public as well. So I think there too are the main issues that we need to take forward and progress within the fire and rescue service to you know, to other organisations, to government ministers, and to the LGA. It's a wider debate that needs, you know, to focus on and to have some attention and some reaction from the government. And the sooner we get that, the better. Thank you.
Some of those things are on the national agenda as well that are being dealt with. Any other questions from members? Okay. Can we agree on the recommendation on that one? So now we move on to 17, National Resilience, CBRN, Mass Decontamination Project. Pages 283 to 286. Chief?
Sure. Try my microphone and just see what feedback. Seems to be okay for now. Start with the microphone. Okay, does seem to be okay. We'll try that. Thanks, Chair. Okay, as members are aware, MFRA, so the authority, are the lead authority for UK national resilience, and that's internally headed up by the Deputy Chief Fire Officer next to me here. UK National Resilience is funded via a grant from MHCLG and the Home Office at times, and consists of strategically located assets and staff across the wider fire and rescue sector. As we know, Merseyside has responsibility for mobilising the assets in support of all national incidents, assuring the staff and those assets, training the staff, and lastly, purchasing and maintaining the kit and equipment. So this paper is to inform members of the outcome of the procurement exercise and seek authorisation to procure 30 radiation portal monitors to complement the mass decontamination capability. And it's recommended that members note the contents of the report and approve the award of a contract valued at £605,000 to Southern Scientific for the procurement of 30 radiation portal monitors. As part of the National Capability Uplift Programme that supports UK national resilience, MHCLG and Cabinet Office are currently working to improve resilience against incidents of a chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear nature. The Mass Decontamination Project seeks to improve the Fire and Rescue Service mass decontamination capability for radiological contaminants. And a radiation portal monitor is a passive, non-intrusive detection system that scans people for illicit or unauthorised radioactive materials. Purchasing radiation portal monitors strengthens interoperability across all of the blue light services. In order to procure the equipment, a competition was undertaken in accordance with the Public Contracts Regulations 2015. The framework agreement used was the Home Office's Radiological Nuclear Detection Framework, providing a robust and competitive route to market. As part of the competition, an expression of interest was sent to all suppliers, of which 2 submitted bids, and thereafter an equipment trial was held at the authority's Training Development Academy as part of the further evaluation process. The bids were evaluated with the preferred bidder identified as Southern Scientific. As far as financial considerations, in January 2025, the authority obtained targeted funding from Homeland Security Group, which is an element of the Home Office, to advance the radiation equipment within the mass decontamination capability, which was identified as a high priority need as part of the New Dimensions review. The contract award to Southern Scientific for the value of £605,500 will be funded from the grant received directly from HSG and does not impact Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service budget at all. This is a separate grant that comes direct from HSG into Merseyside, and then we procure the assets on behalf of the wider fire and rescue service sector. But I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Thank you. This is part of the role that we do in being the lead authority nationally, and people say to us, this is what we want to procure. We go through the process, our fantastic staff deal with that, and then it reports into us, and we give the overview and scrutiny to that final decision. Not the money, but the process is what we're looking at. The money is provided by the government, effectively. Are there any questions on this item? So can that be agreed? Okay, so before we close the meeting, I think it might be useful for our chief officers at the top table here to introduce themselves to members. You'll be working with them over the next year.
Afternoon, everyone. I'm Nick Searle. I'm the Chief Fire Officer. I've been in the service for 31.5 years. I was the Deputy Chief for 7 years, and I've been the Chief